In this video, we'll learn about type 1 and type 2 errors. A type 1 error is the null hypothesis being true, but we reject it. This is kind of like putting an innocent person in prison. Type 2 would be if the null hypothesis is false, but we failed to reject it. This would be kind of like not putting a guilty person in prison. Which do you think is a more serious type of error? Well, they could both be very serious, yes, but particularly in this country, if you think about the jury system, we prefer to err on the side of innocence. We'd rather not put an innocent person in prison. We'd rather take the risk that we're letting a guilty person go free than to take the risk of putting an innocent person in prison. So we assume innocence until proven guilty, and we consider it very serious if we accidentally put someone who didn't do anything wrong into prison. Here's an example. A commonly cited standard for one-way length duration of school bus rides for elementary school children is 30 minutes. A local government office in a rural area conducts a study to determine if elementary schoolers in their district have a longer average one-way commute time. If they determine that the average commute time of students in their district is significantly higher than the commonly cited standard, they will invest in increasing the number of school buses to help shorten commute time. What would a type 2 error mean in this context? Okay, so type 2 is where the null hypothesis is false, but we fail to reject it. So what would the null hypothesis be in this case? They're testing the claim to see if these students have if they determine that the average commute time of students in their district is significantly higher. Okay, now if that's what they're testing, that would be the claim. What would be the null hypothesis would be that they have an average of 30 minutes. So if we fail to reject the average of 30 minutes and they really do have a significantly higher busing time, then we would be in error to not reject that it's equal to 30 minutes. Therefore, the type 2 error would be where we do not provide convincing evidence of an average commute time higher than 30 minutes when the true average commute time is in fact higher than 30 minutes. Here's another one. In a hypothesis test, the decision was made to fail to reject the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis was later determined to be false. What kind of error was committed? Type 2. Let's do a new one. In a hypothesis test, the decision was made to fail to reject the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis was like, oh, that's the same one. Let's see if we can get one. Okay, here we go. And in a hypothesis test, the decision was made to reject the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis was later determined to be true. What kind of error was committed? This was a type 1 error.